So if that was, 73, Layla was born in Phoenix in 74.
Yes, they came to Phoenix and lived with us. We had that house on 23rd Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And they lived with us for a while.
Next to Washington High School.
Yeah.
They
But
lived
they were
with you?
living with us at the time Layla was born. They had their own apartment by then.
Okay, so she was born, I got November 19th of 74.
That sounds right.
Derek was born September 17th of 76. What do you remember about when Derek was born?
I remember he was very sick. He had, I think, lung problems, and they weren't sure he was going to live.
Really?
Yeah, he was very sick when he was born. I do remember that. I don't remember much else about it.
So you're at the house on 23rd Avenue in Glendale. This is like 73-ish here. My mom and Aunt Jo went to Washington High School. My mom graduated in 73. Do you remember that?
Washington. I don't remember when your mother graduated. I remember when Joe did, because the Morleys went with us to Joe's graduation and they threw confetti. We were so excited that she was graduating.
Why were you so excited?
Because
Were you skeptical about that happening?
yeah, everybody was.
Was she just rowdy, or was she not as good of a student,
She
or
was
was
not
she?
that good a student, and she just had a lot of friends, and she played hooky quite a bit.
But she did graduate
She
in
did graduate.
76. I have.
I can't remember your mother's graduation though, but maybe I vaguely can.
So we're at 76 now.
But
Neva drank a lot,
yeah,
like throughout, or did it?
every night at 5 she'd start drinking bourbon and water.
Man,
And I think she was an alcoholic. I tried taking her to a drive-in movie one night when I was in the lab. I had to bring her back home.
it's just too out of control a little bit.
She just wanted to drink.
What since we're on Neva real quick, what's the cool story about Neva betting the guys about driving that bug up the mountain? How'd that come about?
All I know is I've seen the picture that Tracy and Debbie, I think, had a bunch of friends up there, and she had a bet with someone that she could drive the Volkswagen up there, and she did. There's a very glamorous picture of her.
I've got that picture.
You have that picture?
She's laying on the bug.
Yeah.
As
But
a
I
young.
wasn't there, and I don't know that much about it.
Oh, okay. It just sounded like a cool story from.
Yeah, it is.
She bet somebody. My mom or somebody said it was a group of men. Who.
It was Tracy and Debbie's, I think, friends, Moab guy friends. They used to
Okay.
hang out up there.
I can't. I've been up that road, and I cannot imagine how a beetle made it up to the day cabin, right? Isn't that what the location was at the end of the? It's bizarre. I don't know how she. How they? You probably don't, but I was wondering how they verified that she actually made it all the way up there.
Oh,
like
I don't know.
one of the dudes had to ride up there with her or something
I
like
guess nobody
that.
questioned it. I don't know.
So we were at. Joe graduated in 76 with honors. Supposedly, or in the ballpark. Geez, I didn't really realize it, but if she was graduated in 76, I was born in 78.
Your mother, I didn't even know she was working. My kids went to work so young. She was working. They called one day or something. I found out that she had a job. It's some gym or something.
Okay.
And it was amazing. I didn't know she was working, and I found out Joe was donating blood.
For money. Right? That's what you normally.
Just at the
Or just to do it as a.
donation
Oh,
place.
wow.
And I found that out because they called and wanted you to donate some more one day or something. I didn't know they were doing that.
Right.
They always were doing something good.
That was, so she wasn't doing it for money. She was just doing it to
Yeah,
contribute.
she was just donating.
Oh, that is a good thing. That's not something I want to do.
The same with, and I saved your life when you were a baby.
What happened?
Because your mother was only giving you some kind of baby food. And she wouldn't let you have anything else, and I was sneaking you bananas and mashed potatoes and things. You lived with us. And then it turned out babies were dying just from that. They eat nothing but that baby food.
It was like a formula or something, or?
So now I tell her that I saved your life.
Thanks, GrandJan. You're the best.
I'll sneak you food anytime. You did like those bananas, though.
Yeah, I still do. Shortly thereafter, my mom met Irvin, and this must have been late '78 because I was not even a year old. They got married in June of '80, so I guess I was almost 2, and Aaron was born January of '81. My mom and Irvin were in their kind of relationship right then and that time. Joe met Steve Cook. What'd you think about Steve Cook?
I like Steve. They had a beautiful wedding, and I was really surprised when that marriage broke up. And I like Steve to this day.
He's a good guy.
He is.
I like Steve Cook. Joe told me at the wedding, speaking of her wedding, that Bob told her she had to invite one of Bob's business partners, a guy named Tommy D, so he could sing Ave Maria at her wedding.
He did. It was beautiful.
Oh, he was a good singer.
Oh, yes. He was a wonderful singer.
So you were glad that he made
Yes, I was
her do that.
And I knew him, too.
I guess Joe didn't know him at all, so she thought it odd that she was being made to invite someone to her wedding.
But it was wonderful, he sang. And I met him again after Bob and I were divorced. Some rep from work invited me to the Turf Paradise for some kind of a party, and that same guy was there at that party.
Really?
D'Ambrosia, that was their last name, I think.
When
I
was
think
that?
his name was Tommy D'Ambrosia. When was that?
Around that time, or it was like way
It was
after?
after I was divorced from Bob.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been going to a party with somebody else.
Right. So Joe and Steve get married in '81, January of '81, and Kyle was born in August of '82. So it was a good year and a half before Kyle was born. After their, what do you remember about when Kyle was born?
I remember he was huge.
He was a big baby.
He weighed 11 pounds and
Oh my
7
gosh.
ounces, and we went to see them in the hospital. He looked like he was 6 months old in that hospital. He was a
11
huge
pounds.
baby.
He's still a huge dude.
11 pounds and quite a few ounces. I can't remember just how many. 10, I think.
Yeah, none of my
I
kids
think
were
it was
over
11
8
pounds,
pounds.
10 ounces. He was
Wow. That is and so he was probably born in Phoenix too, correct?
huge.
Stephanie's born in '86.
I can remember going to, they had bought a house over on 51st Avenue someplace. a small
Northern.
house. And we went there to see Joe and the new baby, and Bob was holding Stephanie, and I remember he was drinking and he came close to dropping her.
Oh wow, Stephanie when she was just an infant.
And Joe was not happy about that, I remember that.
She could tell he was out of it a little bit.
He was drinking pretty bad then.
Yeah, that's '86. And Jack is born October of '87.
On my
So-
birthday, yes.
There you go. October 23rd of '87. That's right. What do you remember about when Jack was born? That's the last grandkid that was born?
I don't remember much about when he was born. I remember when he was little and swimming in the pool and everything at their house, but I don't really remember when he was born for some reason.
Right around, I guess backtracking a little bit, because I just wanted to go through Joe and Steve a little bit and their kids. Kirk met Darchelle in 1981. What do you remember about Darchelle?
I liked Darchelle. She was beautiful. I remember I bought the dress for their wedding. I bought the dress for her.
Really? Yes. Megan was born in 80, but she was already born when Kirk met Darchelle. Right?
She was a toddler.
Right. So you obviously can't remember anything about her being born, but what'd you think about, when Darchelle, like Darchelle meeting Kirk and having this other baby, from another relationship, and Kirk kind of taking that on, that's not the easiest thing to do.
Because I had 2 children when Bob married me.
Exactly.
It didn't bother me. I liked Darchelle, and I always loved Megan. Megan used to be in the hospital quite a bit with asthma. I'd go see her at the hospital.
Yeah, I seem to remember
The
that.
nurses told her that she was crying for GrandJan one night in the hospital. So Megan always liked me, and I liked her.
I was just pointing out kind of the similarity, between you all and
No,
Kirk.
that didn't bother me.
No, I didn't think it would. I was just thinking, kind of giving credit to Kirk of taking on that responsibility when a lot of dudes
He
would
always
not.
loved Megan, he still does. They're
Right.
very close.
No, I know he does. She's his daughter. Kendall was born December 20th of 83.
She was the cutest little baby. I remember her. She looked like a little Chinese baby.
She looks a lot like Darchelle. Like she's a spitting image of her right now.
Yeah, she does. Look
Every
like
time
her.
I see her.
She was a beautiful little girl, and I remember she had a little bit of a weight problem back then. And I asked her what she liked to eat, and she said lasagna and something else, enchiladas or something.
Those aren't bad choices.
Yeah, she was really a cute little baby girl.
She was born in Phoenix. Do you remember? Where was that at?
She was, and I think your mother and I and Joe went to their house when she was having labor pains, but she didn't have her until a couple of days later.
And then, so that's 83.
And then Spencer.
Spencer was born in 86. January 25th of 86.
And
is what I
Spencer
got.
had very, very bad heart. And I thought he was going to die. We all did. I just waited by the phone.
He
for
had
them to
like
call
open
me.
heart surgery
Yeah,
as
he had to go back for open heart surgery. But he
not
made
even
it
a
through.
month old, right? Like he
Yeah.
was,
He was tiny.
right.
And he's having some problems with it now, too. But I've always been close to Spencer.
Yeah, I know. He had those problems, but eventually came out of it and seemed to have once he got out of that,
Yeah,
he seemed to
finished
have a pretty
college and
normal
everything,
childhood.
but now he seems to be having some heart problems.
Oh, like residual kind of stuff. Not a young man anymore. None of us
No,
are.
he isn't.
So that's 86. You and Bob might have divorced around that time or right after then, maybe for the last time in 90, something like that.
Probably.
What happened with that?
It was just his drinking. That was all.
The main thing? Do you guys have money? You were like,
Oh, he was. Bob was kind of undependable, and the grass is always greener, wanting to move and wanting to quit a job. And he had a good job with the Indian reservation for a while, but he managed to lose that. He would either quit a good job or arrange to lose it.
do you think because he just lost interest, or do you think because he had his eye on something else that he always thought?
Both, I think.
Yeah. That was so. When do you recall what year? Like the final time was? It probably around 90, something like that.
Well,
when
we
you
got
guys.
married again. I don't know the dates. I really don't.
I've got you guys separated, divorced around 1990, but that's like using other things to kind of narrow that
It
down.
sounds about right.
Okay. Well, that's good right there. I'm gonna